Let's just be honest. Politics kind of feel like they don't affect you until they hit your wallet. Maybe you're trying to pay off some bills, stack some savings, or even start a small business. Then out of nowhere, prices go up again, groceries cost more, and gas ticks higher. And you're stuck asking yourself, why did I get poorer, even though you didn't change a single thing? But this time, it's not just inflation. It's not just the economy, it's policy, and it's coming straight from the top. In early 2025, President Trump rolled out what economists are calling the most aggressive trade war policy in US history: universal tariffs. And in simple terms, what this actually means is that almost every single import coming into the United States of America now gets taxed. And even if that sounds like something that only affects big corporations or politicians, it's silently affecting you too. Because these import taxes don't just hit businesses, they get passed down to consumers too. So when your grocery store, your car dealer, or your favorite tech brands pay more to get their products here, you end up paying more too. And here's the scary part. The Congressional Budget Office estimates that Trump's new tariffs could shrink the economy and cost the average household over $1,200 a year in hidden taxes. So today, I'm going to break down exactly how this happened, what it means for you, and 5 real things you can do to protect your wallet and maybe even profit. Because whether you hate or love Trump, this new policy just turned your everyday into a financial chessboard. So let's just keep it easy and start from the top. What exactly are tariffs? Back in April 2025, Trump announced a 10% universal tariff on all imported goods. And that came with extra penalties on China, Mexico, and the EU. When he did it, he claimed it was about protecting American jobs and bringing manufacturing back home. Which sounds good on paper, right? Bring back jobs, buy American, strengthen the economy. Who wouldn't want that? But here's the catch. Over 70% of what the US consumes comes from foreign components. That includes iPhone parts, car engines, furniture, clothes, medicine, even the fertilizer that grows your food. So, when you slap a 10 to 20% tax on imports, those costs don't just disappear. They slowly trickle down every step of the supply chain and you end up paying for it. We're essentially back to World War II era trade policy and a globalized digital economy. But really think about that for a second. Everything around you, from shoes to clothes to furniture to phone parts, has been built on a global supply chain which has been finely tuned for decades. Now suddenly, those gears are grinding. Importers start to panic, retailers raise prices, and manufacturers slow orders. And you, as the consumer, start to feel the squeeze before you even know why. And this isn't just speculation. Economists at the University of Chicago and the Tax Foundation both found that tariffs act as a tax on consumers. They reduce real income, increase costs, and slow economic growth. So it's not just inflation, it's policy-driven inflation. And it hits the very hardest on middle and lower class households that spend most of their income on goods. So let's zoom into your world. How does this stuff actually affect you day to day? Let's start with the cost of living. Maybe you've noticed that grocery expenses are creeping up higher and higher again. Your car repair costs more, or even online electronics, suddenly there's a $50 to $100 markup. And that's not just a coincidence, that's the cost of imports going up. The average American household now effectively pays an extra $100 a month because of these tariffs. And it's not just the obvious stuff like food, clothes, and electronics, it's hidden everywhere. Because if your local business uses imported goods, that price increase flows into your final bill. Then there's job security. Companies relying on global suppliers might pause on hiring or even lay people off to offset the rising costs. Some might move operations overseas, ironically, the opposite of what tariffs intended. And if you're in a blue collar field like construction, automotive, or manufacturing, you're probably already feeling it. Because when parts cost more, projects slow down and hours get cut. And if you're an entrepreneur or side hustler, especially in e-commerce, dropshipping, or Amazon FBA, these tariffs could silently destroy your margins. Because that little $30 product that used to net you $10 profit now costs $34 just to ship it from China. That's before ad spend or shipping. Which ultimately means your profit margin disappears unless you raise prices. And if you raise prices, that could absolutely destroy conversion. So you're stuck. Consumers are frustrated, businesses start to get scared, and the economy starts to tighten. And to top it all off, foreign countries are starting to retaliate. Both China and Mexico already announced counter tariffs on US exports. meaning American companies that do manufacture here now have less international demand, which ultimately leads to less sales, less growth, and less job creation. And this is the feedback loop that we're entering, where protectionism creates short term political wins but long term economic pain. And look, this isn't about choosing a side politically, it's about understanding the game that's being played around you so you can move through it smartly. Because pretending politics just don't exist won't protect your money, but awareness will. Alright, but that's enough doom and gloom. Let's flip the script and teach you how to actually adapt and maybe get ahead of everybody that's sitting around you and just complaining. The first step is to audit your spending for import exposure. Go through your biggest categories like electronics, apparel, tools, furniture, or even supplements. Start identifying domestic alternatives or even bulk buy essentials before the next wave hits. Number 2, if you're running a business or side hustle, localize your supply chain. Try to source from domestic or near-shore suppliers because even if prices are higher now, you'll gain predictability, no surprise tariffs, and no holds in customs. And that stability can actually become your competitive advantage. Things that say made in the USA also sell really well right now because people are becoming extremely patriotic when it comes to buying American. And number 3 is to hedge yourself with inflation-resistant assets because tariff cycles often weaken purchasing power. So owning productive assets, whether that's ETFs, stocks, real estate, or even a side business, keeps you aligned with raising prices instead of being crushed by them. Because if goods go up, so does the value of productive capital. Number 4, learn high-value, global-proof skills. Stop chasing safe jobs that could just disappear if the trade war deepens, and chase skills that can actually travel, like digital marketing, AI systems, finance, coding. Skills that can make you valuable anywhere in the world, not just one company or country. And number 5 is to start thinking like an investor and not a victim. Because every policy shift creates losers, but it also creates winners. If tariffs make imports expensive, US manufacturing and agriculture could explode in demand. Investing early in sectors that benefit things like logistics, local production, energy, can turn these macro shifts into personal profit. And for my younger audience, this is your chance to start studying how these global shifts affect your personal economy. And that's how real financial freedom starts, not by following trends, but by understanding the systems behind them. Remember, wealth isn't always just about earning more. It's about anticipating the game that everybody else reacts to too late. Now let's quickly talk about what this actually means for your future. Here's the truth that most people just don't want to face. Globalization, the thing that makes products cheaper and business easier, might be dying. Because we're moving into a world where nations act more like competitors and less like partners. Where things like your groceries, your phone, and even your job are now part of a global chess match. And while the headlines make it sound like it's distant or complicated, you're living inside of it every single day. You're the one feeling the aftershock when prices rise, and you're the one paying the silent tax when trade slows. You're the one navigating a future where secure might not mean safe anymore. But here's the thing, you're also the one that can adapt. You can learn faster, plan smarter, and build something that actually thrives, regardless of who's in office or what policy drops next. And that's the whole reason that I built this channel, not to talk politics, but to teach financial literacy in a world that changes overnight. Because the system may be shifting, but so can you. And if you move early, you understand patterns, and you act with intention, you won't just survive it, you'll own it. So whether you voted for him or not, Trump's tariffs are here, and they're reshaping your money without your permission. Don't ignore it, don't panic, just position yourself. Because while everybody else is blaming politicians for their problems, the smartest people take action in silence. So if this video helped you at all, make sure to drop a like, drop a comment, and share with a friend that's always asking, why are prices so expensive lately? Because chances are, they're feeling it too. This is Bankrupt, where we cut through the noise, decode the system, and help you play the financial game smarter than 99% of the people your age. I'll see you in the next one.